Vanakkam, Vandanam, Namaste, Namaskar, good evening, Sat Sri Akal. Welcome to Post-Mortem with Balanagin, when enlightenment begins here, only on Radio Run-Up, Light of Life. Sure all, this is thunderous Thursday to 9 p.m. 60 minutes of enlightenment on your way, where we are going to dissect an impartial analysis we are going to provide in front of all of you with utmost clarity and by standing at the center. We are neutral. And this is Postmortem, enlightenment begins only here. You're listening to Radio Run-Up, Light of Life, the vehicle that transforms your life from stress to bliss. As I've been saying on and on and on, Radio Run is having its journey towards eternity. To contribute towards the eternal journey of Radio Udaan, go to www.radioudaan.com, www.radioudaan.com. I repeat, www.radioudaan.com, where you can submit feedback and contribute in the better way possible. Go to radioudaan.com and find the link, submit feedback. For instance, if you are listening to Postmortem and if you want to give your feedback to make the Postmortem, your Postmortem, the better Postmortem than ever, after 9 p.m. tonight, you can go to www.radioudaan.com and you can find the link, submit feedback. There you can select the show Postmortem with Balanagin, and from where you can rate the show according to what you feel about the content, what you feel about the presentation, what you feel about the information shared, what you feel about the so-called neutrality, and what you feel about the clarity of information the President placed in front of all of you. Your choices will help us to open the door of success, so go and submit your feedback. Excellent, very good, good, okay, poor will be the choices. Your choices is the keystone for the better progress and the future of Radio Udaan. Apart from that, you can get a lot of information pertaining to what we are, who we are, and how we are doing. And you can also download the playlist to listen to Radio Udaan and enjoy Radio Udaan 24/7 from your PC as well as on your laptop. Apart from that, if you want to be a part of Radio Udaan's family by becoming an RJ radio jockey, you can also do that by filling up the form interested to become RJ. Go to www.radioudaan.com and find the link interested to become RJ and fill up the necessary items. If everything works well, you will be listened across more than 110 countries and you will kiss the eardrums of more than 25,000 listeners per month. Apart from that, we are on social media as well. We are on Facebook and Twitter. If you want to know our day-to-day operations, you can follow us at Twitter at Radio Udaan, at RADIOUDAAN. If you are a Tweeple, that will be highly useful for you to know each and every move of Radio Udaan. Radio Udaan is going to come with another convention 2017, which is going to be held on January 28, 2016 at the city of Perth, Hyderabad, where we are going to be traveling towards the south for the first time since the inception of Light of Life. So hurry up, fill up the form, then fill the necessary items that is given in the www.radioudaan.com, and we can have a wonderful rendezvous on 28th January 2017. Radio Udaan convention is going to be your convention, your grand success. It is the convention's grandest success. You can also follow us on Facebook. You can share your views, ideas, thoughts, and incisive attachments on facebook.com/Radio Udaan, which will take you to our official page and group. Apart from that, if you want to enjoy Radio Udaan on your smart mobile in a smart way, Radio Udaan has a smart solution through Android app. Go to Google Play Store, download Radio Udaan app and enjoy Radio Udaan's 4 hours of entertaining show, 4 hours of his webcast, and 16 hours of mellowblues musical extravaganza and special segments. If you want to listen to the webcast of this Postmortem, you can listen tomorrow 3 to 4 p.m. on your Flight of Life Radio Udaan. Today we are going to provide you an impartial analysis of an international issue. In fact, it is about what is happening at present globally. We are not going to talk about terrorism. We are not going to talk about economic recession. We are not going to talk about strategic, diplomatic, and political differences that are happening in and around the countries across the globe. But we are going to talk about the thing that encompasses all the above. We are going to talk about an important organization. We are going to talk about, in fact, we are going to do a postmortem on the organization from its historic background to what it is today. There has been substantial change. In fact, I would like to term it as evolution. There has been a substantial evolution in the establishment structure of the organization, but at the same time there were deep lacuna. How can we overcome those lacuna? There is a greatest canny that has to be crossed. The gorge in between the development and the stagnant is enormous. We need to find a solution. We need to find a method to combat and swim across that gorge. For that, we have come today on Postmortem to talk about that organization, to provide you an impartial analysis. We are going to blow the pieces and we are going to solve by making the pieces of the puzzle fall into place. It's 8:06 on the clock and 60 minutes of enlightenment has begun on Postmortem with Balaragir, where we are going to talk about an international organization. Many organizations are international organizations such as World Trade Organization, WTO, World Health Organization, WHO, United Nations Organization, UNO, and many. We are going to talk about one among them. As we are going to dissect tonight, you will get to know the significance of the actions that the organization takes every year. The newspapers are hovering across. In fact, the media cameras are hovering across this venue at present. In fact, this is where substantial dialogue taking place. This is where the issues of growing menace called drugs, terrorism, and insurgencies are discussed. Despite country differences, here lives as some sort of equality like a minnow. And thus, it's time for us to see through what happens inside. What is that hidden secrets behind the curtains? Postmortem is there to unveil those secrets behind the curtains by blowing the curtain itself. That's why we always believe in clarity, neutrality, and ultimately, we don't stand by any extreme on any issue. Postmortem is just to provide you enlightenment, not education alone. Postmortem is the one that's gonna be bringing you number one information. Well, today we are going to talk about the United Nations General Assembly. It's not United Nations organization, but a part of it. In fact, it is one of the principal organ, the primemost organ of the United Nations organization. Never forget that United Nations organization comprises of 6 organs, out of which we have discussed in the same postmortem couple of months ago about the United Nations Security Council and the permanent membership, veto power, how many times the veto powers have been used, and so forth. If you want to listen that again, you can request the archive on www.radioudaan.com by filling up the form. You will be present at the show. Or else, you can search in our YouTube. Yes, we are on YouTube as well. Go to youtube.com/ and find Radio Udaan. That's our channel. Subscribe to our channel. The more you subscribe, the more we would be enthusiastic and the more shows will be uploaded so that you can enjoy whenever you are online. We have discussed about the United Nations Security Council, and now it's time for us to talk about the United Nations General Assembly. UNGA or UN simply or AG. These are the abbreviations under which this organization is termed. United Nations General Assembly occupies a paramount significance in decision-making globally. It is one of the paramount global decision-making body where members have equal rights of voting. But it is necessary for us to know how far the United Nations General Assembly has went through, from where it has begun, why it has begun, what are the effects before its beginning, and how it had functioned at the time of Cold War and the post-Cold War at the break of USSR, and how far it is functioning in the 21st century with the Millennium Development Goals, and what is its stand on the Sustainable Development Goal, SDGs. We are also going to talk about the structure, the organizational segmentations, assortments of hierarchy, and so forth about the United Nations General Assembly. So stay tuned for Radio Udaan. Keep listening to Radio Udaan. This is Balanang and presenting you the most enlightening show post-mortem. Today we are dissecting United Nations General Assembly.
यार सुमित, एक बात पूछूं?
हाँ पूछो।
तुम्हारे सारे फ्रेंड्स स्टिक यूज करते हैं, पर तुम क्यों नहीं करते?
यार मुझे स्टिक के साथ चलना बहुत अटपटा लगता है और लुक भी तो बिगड़ जाती है ना अपनी।
अच्छा, मुझे तो ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं लगता। तुम एक मिनट यहीं रुको, मैं जरा अपनी इंस्टॉलमेंट पे करके आती हूँ और कहीं जाना मत यहाँ से।
ठीक है। हेलो श्रेया।
हाँ सुमित।
यार कितना समय हो गया, कहाँ हो तुम?
माय गॉड, आई एम सो सॉरी सुमित। मुझे मेरी एक फ्रेंड मिल गई और मैं उसके साथ निकल गई। मैं भूल ही गई थी कि तुम मेरे साथ थे।
काश कि आपने सही समय पर केन का इस्तेमाल सीख लिया होता तो आज हालात ऐसे न होते। इसीलिए दोस्तों कीजिए केन से दोस्ती, क्योंकि नो केन नो गेन।
ओम मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुध्वजा।
भक्तजनों, इस मोह माया से भरे संसार में ना जाने कितनी ही दिक्कतें एवं परेशानियों ने सबको फुलटू फंसा रखा है और दुनियादारी में टोटली उलझा रखा है। परंतु चिंता का कोई विषय नहीं है प्रिय भक्तों, क्योंकि इन दिक्कतों से कुछ ना होता। देवी डिम्पल लेकर आ रही हैं इन सारी समस्याओं का समाधान। तो अब से एवरी फ्राइडे 8 to 9 PM सोशल कीड़े सर चढ़ के बोलेंगे In all is well with RJ Dimple on your favorite Radio Udaan, a flight of life.
रेडियो उड़ान और मित्र ज्योति ने एक ब्रेल मैगजीन लॉन्च की है जिसका नाम है इनसाइट।
इस ब्रेल मैगजीन में आपको पढ़ने के लिए मिलेंगे एजुकेशन, हेल्थ, टेक्नोलॉजी, बिजनेस, लाइफस्टाइल, स्पोर्ट्स और तमाम सब्जेक्ट से रिलेटेड बेहतरीन आर्टिकल्स।
ये एक क्वार्टरली मैगजीन है जो आपको साल में हर 3 महीने के बाद उपलब्ध करवाई जाएगी।
इस मैगजीन का सालाना शुल्क है 100 रुपए और इसे प्राप्त करने के लिए आज ही अपना एड्रेस मेल करें
admin.office@mitrajyoti.org पर admin.o@mitrajothi.org। कॉल कर सकते हैं 8022587623 पर।
हैप्पी रीडिंग।
लो आ गई नई आजादी।
मगर बताओ तो सही, कौन सी है ये नई आजादी?
ये आजादी है हमें और भी करीब से सुनने की।
वो कैसे?
वो ऐसे कि अब आप हमें सुन सकते हो हमारे ऑफिशियली एंड्रॉइड ऐप के माध्यम से, जो कि अवेलेबल है गूगल प्ले स्टोर पर।
तो आज ही डाउनलोड करें रेडियो उड़ान का ऑफिशियल ऐप और आनंद लें एक नई आजादी का। रेडियो उड़ान, अ फ्लाइट ऑफ लाइफ।
न फिक्र करो बीते लम्हों की कि कल का सूरज निकलना बाकी है। मिल जाएंगी मंजिलें आपको हमेशा कि आपके हौसलों की उड़ान बाकी है। सुनते रहिए रेडियो उड़ान, द फ्लाइट ऑफ लाइफ।
Well, before delving into United Nations General Assembly, it is apt to emphasize on the historic background behind the establishment of such a big organization. Whether we like it or not, whether we agree or not, World War II paved the way for the establishment of United Nations. World War II has been the reason behind the establishment. But similar things have happened in the post-World War I. The League of Nations, one of the greatest effects of World War I, but that has been disbanded because the League of Nations lost its goodwill thanks to its autocratic, partial policies and deprivation granted even to its members. That's how League of Nations came to an end, which turned into the United Nations in the year 1945. But before that, it is time for us to look forward to World War I and World War II. The two of the brutal, inhuman, globally threatened events ever took place on Earth. We lived in the era of inhuman, ancient, barbaric nomads. We have surpassed monarchy, where brutality is the utmost feature. When we were talking about democracy, socialism, communism, and capitalism, things turned into imperialization. Developed countries have dominated the poor countries. Developed countries have exploited the poor countries. And thus, every country went on looking for development. Those who were able to do it have begun colonization, imperialization, exploitation, utterly brutalization of the people of the poor countries, or those who don't have enough avenues to attain development. Humanity has been turned from bad to worse in the beginning of the 20th century. When the Germany united, all the foundations have been laid for World War I. Under Bismarck, in the year 1870, Germany has been united from the France and Italy, even from Austria, through iron and blood policy of Bismarck. Bismarck happened to be the violent chancellor, but without a doubt, a great patriot. He led Germany to a phenomenal stride to attain a power in growth with that of the founders and the fathers of Industrial Revolution, the Great Britain. That's where the competition began, and which culminated, in fact, which has sowed the seed for World War II in the form of World War I. From 1914 to 1918, World War I has globally killed as many people as possible. Not only it has killed by bombs, guns and weapons, it has killed through alienation, displacement, migration, orphaning, and apart from that through pandemics, epidemics and other life-threatening, prolonging diseases and disabilities. In the year 1919, things have come somewhat closer towards peace, but it was not peace at all. It was a forced silence of the lost and the poor by the one and the rich. World War I and the post-policies of World War I was dictated by the victorious forces who defeated the Axis in the form of Treaty of Versailles. Never forget, Treaty of Versailles happened to be the reason behind the emergence of Adolf Hitler, the Nazi leader who drawn the map and the formulator of World War II. Treaty of Versailles has also given its nod to the establishment of League of Nations. According to that, League of Nations decisions are binding on all the members, but the decision will be taken only 3 to 5 members especially United States of America, the Great Britain, France, Russia. That's it. Germany has been literally toppled, stomped again and again and again by signing the Treaty of Versailles, which was totally partial, as Germany has to indemnify the losses occurred by the developed and the victorious forces of the World War I that rubbed salt into the wounds of the Germans who were toiling to uplift themselves. That was literally impossible at that time. And thus, League of Nations slowly went on obliterating. In the year 1926, Russia, under the leadership of Stalin, has been included with Turks, the countries like Spain, to vacate the League of Nations. And in the year 1933, Hitler publicized that Germany gets out of the League of Nations, which is governed only by the developed Western world, by depriving the rights of the Europe and the others. He has literally torn up the Treaty of Versailles and stopped all its features implemented in Germany. So as Italy, under the leadership of Benito Mussolini, and slowly Japan, Russia, all those countries have withdrawn, and thus League of Nations turned toothless. In the year 1939, and thus begun World War II, thanks to Hitler's invasion on Poland, which given space to Britain, United States and France to enter into war against Germany. And Germany side, Italy and Japan, Hungary, those countries have started fighting. This happened to be the more gravest, inhuman, diabolical, hellacious war on the history compared to World War I. Even it is brutal that World War I. World War II has affected almost every citizen at that time in one way or the other. And thus in the year 1945, after Hitler killed himself, after Mussolini assassinated, after Japan unconditionally surrendered thanks to the atomization of Hiroshima and Nagasaki by the United States, China and the Great Britain, the people power leaders, United States, France, Britain, Russia, have stood and drawn a map to establish a common, unified United Nations, and thus they have repealed the establishment of League of Nations, and thus League of Nations ceased to exist. United Nations has come across, and 1945 happened to be the United Nations year, and thus the organs have been split as United Nations General Assembly, United Nations Security Council, United Nations Economic and Social Council, International Court of Justice, and so forth. Totally 6 organs have been devised, out of which United Nations General Assembly happened to be the first organ came into being on January 10, 1946. January 10, 1946, with the members of 51 nations in accord. India has been the member since the inception of the United Nations, although it was under the governance of the British, but the time was up for British from 1945 onwards. January 10, 1946, the first meet held at Westminster, London. Yes, now the office may be at New York, United States, but initially, at the first time, the office or the headquarters of the United Nations was in London, and slowly it has transformed to the grown so-called superpower United States. How things have changed, what happened at the United Nations General Assembly, that to the very first General Assembly. What are the things that we need to understand the actions that are taken at the General Assembly? We'll tell you in the coming link only on Radio Nana Flight of Life. This is Balanagandran on your most enlightening show, Post-Mortem.
बदलता दौर, जहां हम पहुंचाएंगे आपकी आवाज सरकार तक। बदलता दौर, जो देता है आपको जानकारी अपनी कम्युनिटी में होने वाले तमाम इंसिडेंट्स। सुनते रहिए बदलता दौर डिस्कशन रेडियो उड़ान पर हर रविवार रात को 9 से 10 और सोमवार 4 से 5 सिर्फ और सिर्फ रेडियो उड़ान पर।
नैब इंडिया यानी नेशनल एसोसिएशन फॉर द ब्लाइंड इंडिया, इंडिया की सबसे पुरानी संस्था है जहां दृष्टिहीनों के लिए शिक्षा, रोजगार और पुनर्वसन की सेवा दी जाती है।
नैब इंडिया पर संपर्क करने के लिए हमें ईमेल करें hsg@nabindia.info पर। आप हमें कॉल भी कर सकते हैं। हमारा नंबर है 02266838637।
कभी तड़प, कभी तन्हाई, कभी बेबसी तो कभी इंतजार।
ये मर्जी क्या खूब है ना, जिसे
मोहब्बत कहते हैं। तो मामला हो टूटे दिल का, या आपको आपके अपने ही कर रहे हो नजरअंदाज,
फिक्र नॉट,
क्योंकि
स्नेहा के पास है
इन सब
का इलाज।
अब से हर शनिवार रात 8 से 9 नजर आएंगे प्यार के कुछ नए रंग इन नजराना प्यार का। मेरा अजय स्नेहा ओनली ऑन रेडियो ऑफ लाइट ऑफ लाइफ।
लो आ गई नई आजादी।
मगर बताओ तो सही, कौन सी है ये नई आजादी?
ये आजादी है हमें और भी करीब से सुनने की।
वो कैसे?
वो ऐसे कि अब आप हमें सुन सकते हो हमारे ऑफिशियली एंड्रॉइड ऐप के माध्यम से, जो कि अवेलेबल है गूगल प्ले स्टोर पर।
तो आज ही डाउनलोड करें रेडियो उड़ान का ऑफिशियल ऐप और आनंद लें एक नई आजादी का। रेडियो उड़ान, अ फ्लाइट ऑफ लाइफ।
एक मंच जहां मिलती है महत्वपूर्ण जानकारियां।
सवाल हो और जवाब दूं।
एक मंच जहां होते हैं हंसी और ठहाके।
वाह। एक मंच जहां होती हैं चर्चाएं।
दूसरी वाली आपको नहीं समर्पित करूंगा।
नहीं कीजिए, बड़े स्पोर्टिंग।
आप पहले सुन लीजिए, उसके बाद कहिएगा आपको चाहिए समर्पण के नहीं चाहिए।
एक मंच जहां मिलेगा लोकप्रिय संगीत।
और इन सब के बीच एक ऐसा मंच जहां मिलता है सब कुछ। लॉग ऑन कीजिए www.radioudan.com और जुड़ जाइए हमारे साथ।
Well, whenever we speak about United Nations General Assembly, it is necessary to know few features. United Nations General Assembly is the only organ in the United Nations that has all the members of the UN. You cannot find the same at any organ of the UN. You can take the examples of United Nations Security Council, United Nations Economic and Social Council, International Court of Justice, and so forth. The United Nations General Assembly has begun with 51 members in the year 1945 and came into being through sessions on January 10, 1946 at Westminster, London. The second meeting held at Paris in the year 1947. The second meeting held at Paris happened to be one of the greatest events that transformed. At the time, the then President of the United Nations General Assembly has fixed that the first Speaker of the UN General Assembly would be a Brazilian. You can even find, even this year's General Assembly speech, the first speech would be delivered by the Speaker of Brazil. It may be the head of the state or head of the government or the representative of the people. Then the countries will follow alphabetically. The seating arrangements of the United Nations General Assembly is also made in the same way. The 51 members have now transformed into 193. The last entrant was South Sudan. In this 193, every member has an equal vote. There is nothing like permanent member, non-permanent member, and so forth. When we speak about the United Nations compilations, the 51 members have finally moved to New York in the year 1952 at the 7th meet of the United Nations General Assembly. And then on, the United Nations General Assembly meets are held every year at New York, even today. When we speak about the non-aligned movement and the UN General Assembly, this is where the twist. When we collected the nations under the group of non-aligned movements, not aligning with the capitalism and socialism, that's how the scenario changed, and that's how the members began to plunge into the organization. In fact, non-aligned movement was the one that given the notion that United Nations is the one that should comprise each and every member of the UN. In the year 1988, there has been another twist due to Yasser Arafat. Yasser Arafat happened to be the Palestine freedom fighter. Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO, was the greatest movement launched by Yasser Arafat, which has turned from militancy to non-violence. Yasser Arafat was about to address the United Nations General Assembly session. And for that, in the year 1988, the General Assembly session wasn't held at New York, but in Geneva. It is because of the diplomatic ties that is between Israel and the United States that made Yasser Arafat banned from entering into the territory. Scenarios have been changed during Cold War and after USSR, and let's know how far the membership or the seats are arranged in the UN General Assembly. In the next link only on Radio Udaan, like of life. You are listening to Postmortem, the most enlightening show on radio.
यार ब्लाइंड होने का एक प्रॉब्लम है। मन करता है अच्छे अच्छे रेस्टोरेंट्स में जाऊं और नई नई डिश ट्राई करूं, पर मेन्यू ही नहीं पढ़ पाता।
हाँ, और वेटर से पूरा मेन्यू तो नहीं पढ़वा सकते और हर आइटम की प्राइस पूछते हुए शर्म आती है।
जानते हो, ये प्रॉब्लम लो विजन वालों और सीनियर सिटीजन्स को भी आती है। रेस्टोरेंट्स में लाइटिंग भी तो बहुत कम होती है ना।
कभी कभी सोचती हूँ कि घर से खाना ऑर्डर कर दूं, लेकिन आसपास के रेस्टोरेंट पता करना और उनकी मेन्यू जानना कितना मुश्किल है। कोई इसके लिए कुछ करता क्यों नहीं?
उन सब लोगों के लिए जिनको रेस्टोरेंट मेन्यू पढ़ने में दिक्कत होती है, इंडिया का पहला एक्सेसिबल रेस्टोरेंट फाइंडर एंड मेन्यू रीडिंग ऐप गुड फूड टॉक्स लॉन्च हो गया है। अब अपने मोबाइल, टैबलेट या कंप्यूटर पे कभी भी कहीं भी आप अपने आसपास के रेस्टोरेंट का नाम, एड्रेस, फोन नंबर और मेन्यू आसानी से पढ़ सकते हैं। बस गुड फूड टॉक्स ऐप एंड्रॉइड प्ले स्टोर से डाउनलोड करें। अपने कंप्यूटर या आईफोन पर www.goodfoodtalks.in that is goodfoodtalks.in खोलें और एंजॉय करें।
अरे वाह, मजा आ गया। देखो तो पास में कौन कौन से रेस्टोरेंट्स हैं।
हमारी जिंदगी को और भी खूबसूरत बनाता है PYR, यानी कि प्यार।
मेरी लाइफ में सिर्फ दो चीज है, प्यार 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 या मार मार मार।
करिए अपने प्यार का इजहार एक अनोखे तरीके से। शेयर करिए अपने प्यार की कहानी बस मेरी जुबानी। अपने प्यारी सी लव स्टोरी को शेयर करने के लिए आप हमें मेल कर सकते हैं POOPATEL55@gmail.com पर, या फिर लॉग इन कीजिए www.radioudan.com। सुनते रहिए, जिंदगी खूबसूरत है विद आरजे धड़कन ऑन योर रेडियो उड़ान, अ फ्लाइट ऑफ लाइफ।
We apologize for the technical difficulties that cost the show from listening for more than 30 minutes. And you can listen the rewebcast of 60 minutes of Postmortem tomorrow 3 to 4 p.m. where important information have been shared about the United Nations General Assembly in the first 30 minutes. Well, nothing is late. It is better late than never, as we are going to move towards the membership of the United Nations General Assembly at present. According to the continent, Asia has 50 seats, Africa 55, Europe 42, Latin America and the Caribbean 33, North America 2, and Oceania 11, totally 193 seats. Each member carries each vote. One nation, one vote policy helps the United Nations General Assembly to function in the most democratic way possible among the rest of the organs of the United Nations organization. In other way, whenever there is an important resolution containing peace and international security, measures on United Nations budget and allocations, measures on peacekeeping, measures on intervention of the United Nations, the 2/3 of majority has to be passed at the General Assembly in order to pass the resolution. In the total members of the United Nations, more than 2/3 of the members are developing nations, and thus the developed countries where a neighbor can't omit the 2/3 majority whenever they want to pass the resolution. This is what increases the significance of the UNGA. Apart from that, there are permanent members as well who are the members of UNGA, but here we have no veto power. On the other hand, the United Nations resolution, the General Assembly's resolutions are not binding on the member countries, but they are all the directive principles where the member states are expected to abide by the guidelines subjected to the past resolution of the United Nations General Assembly. That is a seating arrangement at the General Assembly. Every country is made to sit in the alphabetical order, but at the front row left side corner, there will be one seat that will be occupied by the members in rotation. Among the lots, there will be a lottery system among the members, and in rotation, one country will share that front row left corner seat, and the rest will follow in the alphabetical order. This is just to show that the United Nations General Assembly holds significance and fair and just participation. The United Nations General Assembly occupied an important part in global decision making. It can appoint any non-member states or any institutes or organizations to be an observer member of its meetings. Every Tuesday, the General Assembly has its general meeting and important decisions are taken. From the General Assembly, 10 non-permanent members are elected and sent to the United Nations Security Council. This General Assembly comprises of 30 committees, out of which 6 are major committees, and 6 commissions, 7 boards, 5 councils and panels, and other committees as well. Out of these 30 committees, the major 6 committees compiles globally important, in fact, the major decision-making avenues. Some of them are international disarmament and international security, economic and finance, state politics and decolonization, social, cultural and human effects, state politics and diplomatic relations, legal committee. Those 6 committees are happen to be the major one. Among the minor 24 committees, credentials committees, which are appointed comprising of 9 members of the General Assembly every year as soon as the General Assembly meet is begun. And the General Assembly Committee, that is acting as a supervisory committee, are known to be the committees that are functioning. There are various commissions like disarmament, health, human rights, social justice, and so forth. Everything comes under the purpose and the objects of the committee. The board comprises the executive and the non-executive boards. The councils and the panels are comprising of Human Rights Council. Previously it has been Human Rights Commission. Even though the new United Nations Human Rights Commission is still functioning, there is a United Nations Human Rights Council at the United Nations General Assembly. The United Nations Human Rights Commission is totally meant for UNO, but United Nations Human Rights Council is for UN General Assembly alone. When we go further on what happened during Cold War, United Nations General Assembly has taken a toll by the war of diplomatic, verbal, and other Cold War effects. The United Nations General Assembly has been assembled totally 12 times as an emergency meeting during the period of Cold War to discuss the scenario that changed the economic, social, and political circumstances of the countries that stands far and against as that of the capital and the socialist nations. And those who are standing in the middle in the name of non-aligned movement were also being suffocated and subjugated into the global decisions by the United Nations General Assembly. In the year 1980s to 90s, there was a shift in the paradigm of the UNGA, and after the breakdown of USSR, more members have been added into the United Nations General Assembly's ambit, and thus the borders of the UNGA widened. So far so good. When we go by the decisions taken by the UNGA, we can say one thing is for sure, that the United Nations General Assembly has stopped World War III for 71 years, which the League of Nations couldn't do within the establishment of 20 years of its period. The United Nations General Assembly also resolves the issues that are dealt with by the other committees as well. For instance, the issues that are discussed at the United Nations Security Council will also be discussed at the UN General Assembly. UN General Assembly comprises all the members, and thus it has most significance. The current president is Mr. Peter Thompson. Every year, September to December, the UN General Assembly is gathered, and from January onwards, the proceedings according to the resolution will take place. And that's how, when the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi proposed the International Yoga Day in the 69th United Nations General Assembly held in the year 2014, was decided in the year 2015, and since then, on June 21st, International Yoga Day is commemorated.
रेडियो उड़ान सुन रहे सभी मित्रों को मेरा प्यार भरा नमस्कार। मेरा नाम मधु सिंघल है। मैं बेंगलोर में कार्यरत संस्था मित्र ज्योति, जो पिछले 25 वर्षों से दृष्टिहीनों एवं दूसरे विकलांग व्यक्तियों के लिए कार्यरत है, उसकी मैनेजिंग ट्रस्टी हूँ। इस संस्था की गतिविधियां इस प्रकार हैं। यहाँ पर दृष्टिहीनों के लिए ऑडियो में पुस्तकें रिकॉर्ड की जाती हैं। इसके साथ साथ ब्रेल में और स्कैन्ड पुस्तकें भी उनको दी जा रही हैं। कंप्यूटर प्रशिक्षण और रोजगार की सुविधाएं भी यहाँ प्रदान की जा रही हैं। दृष्टिहीन महिलाओं के लिए एक विशेष प्रकार का कोर्स चलाया जाता है, जिसमें उन्हें आत्मनिर्भर बनकर जीवन में आगे बढ़ने की क्षमता प्रदान की जा रही है। आप मित्र ज्योति से संपर्क कर सकते हैं। यहाँ का फोन नंबर है 08022587623 और 22587625। ईमेल एड्रेस है admin.office@mitrajyoti.org। वेबसाइट है www.mitrajyoti.org।
आलू है, गोभी है, मटर, टमाटर।
आलू है, गोभी है, मटर, टमाटर बाबूजी एकदम बढ़िया ताजा है।
सेब है एकदम मीठा सेब बाबूजी, एकदम मीठा सेब ले लो।
अरे बाबूजी सेब ले लो, सेब एकदम मीठे हैं, बढ़िया एकदम। ले लो बाबूजी।
अरे भैया ये सेब का भाव दिए?
अरे बाबूजी ले लो, 120 रुपए किलो हैं।
अच्छे हैं?
अरे एकदम बढ़िया बाबूजी, कश्मीरी सेब हैं।
अच्छा अच्छा, 2 किलो दे दो।
दे रहे हैं बाबूजी वहीं। ले बाबूजी।
अरे रे रे, 1 मिनट, तुम इन्हें पॉलीथीन में क्यों पैक कर रहे हो? ये बहुत खतरनाक होती है, क्या तुम्हें पता नहीं है?
बाबूजी ये कैसे?
देखो, जब हम इन पन्नियों का यूज करते हैं तो इसमें रखा सामान खाने योग्य नहीं होता। दूसरा, जब हम इसे फेंकते हैं तो पशु पक्षियों के लिए भी खतरनाक साबित होता है। पानी में डालें तो पानी को भी दूषित करता है, और साथ ही साथ हमारी नन्ही नन्ही मछलियां इसमें फंस जाती हैं, जिससे उनका दम घुट जाता है। या फिर हम इन पॉलीथीन बैग्स को जलाएं तो उससे निकलने वाली गैस जैसे कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड से हमारी स्वच्छ वायु दूषित हो जाती है। तो ऐसी खतरनाक चीज का हम उपयोग क्यों करें भला?
सही कहा बाबूजी आपने। अब हम कबहू ना प्लास्टिक का थैला इस्तेमाल करीब। अब तो हम हमेशा कपड़े का थैला इस्तेमाल करीब और पन्नी का भी इस्तेमाल नहीं करीब।
दोस्तों, ये तो समझ गए, और आप नहीं समझे तो समझ जाइए।
रेडियो उड़ान द्वारा जनहित में जारी।
Visit on www.radioudan.com.
You are listening to Radio Udaan, Radio Udaan, Radio Udaan, a flight of light. For more information, log on to www.radioudan.com. Happy listening.
When we speak to the post-USSR collapse, United Nations General Assembly has gained more than it has lost. Although it has lost in some sort of relevance even today, many times the United Nations General Assembly's resolutions haven't been accepted by many members. For instance, when the United Nations General Assembly hasn't granted the United States to go for its NATO infiltration into the territory of Iraq, the United States of America and the NATO have defied it and entered into Iraq in the form of a war which toppled and ousted Saddam Hussein's regime. Many a times such events have took place. UN General Assembly, as it said, is not binding its resolutions on the members. And at the same time, there is no veto power. No member country can veto unless until in the name that they don't like it. In the United Nations Security Council, there is a veto power which is a lethal weapon for the countries to screw or drew any conclusion. But at the United Nations General Assembly, every member will have the voice. Every member will vote for the better progress and functioning. Although the United Nations General Assembly has been reduced from its relevance, it hasn't lost it completely. As I've said in earliest, it has stopped World War III for 71 years from the date where World War II ended. This has been the greatest achievement, and United Nations General Assembly is looking forward to fighting poverty, illiteracy, inequality. And this year, as I've said, there were 12 emergency meetings in the period of Cold War. This year, 2016, has also seen emergency meeting that is under the motto of War Against Drugs. The illegitimate, illegal usage of drugs and people turning drug addicts are the key agenda behind the discussions of the United Nations General Assembly. Previously, till 1964, the date or the session or the year will be the part of the resolution. For example, the UN Resolution 1514-64, which means it is passed in the 15th session of the United Nations or the 14th of the month and in the year 1964. That's why it is 64. But now it only comprises the session number and the year. And thus, the 671st United Nations General Assembly meet is underway. Every country is expressing its concerns, the efforts that it is putting in. Although it is not binding, it has a substantial part in political, administrative, legal, and economic governance of the member countries. As almost majority of the members of the globe are in the ambit of the UNGA, it is not false to say that UNGA would influence the policies, strategies, programs, and the decisions of the nation. In that sense, in the year 2000, to celebrate the millennium, the United Nations General Assembly has convened another emergency meet, under which the 15-point formulae under the name of Millennium Development Goals, MDGs, have been coined. And after 2015, another 15-year formulae. Previously, it was 15-point formulae. This time, it is 15-year formulae under the name of Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, which comprises 17 topics or subjects and 168 targets to be achieved. It is an expanded version of Millennium Development Goals. Although Millennium Development Goals have seen substantial growth, but it hasn't attained the target, or it hasn't reached the intended target. And thus the United Nations has come with Sustainable Development Goals with utmost controversy. Yes, the United Nations General Assembly is not barred from controversies as it talks about the SDGs. SDGs is vague and unambiguous, says the sources and the experts. The 17 subjects and 168 targets are totally vague, and it is not explaining what it wants with specificity, is what the point made by the experts. United Nations General Assembly is meeting every year. As once upon a time, the Prime Minister of India said, it is high time for the reform of the United Nations Security Council to avoid the United Nations gaining more irrelevance. And the reformation issues are also being discussed at the United Nations General Assembly. UNGA talks on reforming UNSC. Security Council happened to be the keystone of the UN apart from UNGA. The reformation process is still at bay, requires special mention. And with that note, it's time for me to take a leave and to pave way for a technocratic show, Tech City, from 9 to 10 p.m, followed by Dil Se Dil Tak from 10 to 11 p.m. You can listen to the webcast of Post-Mortem tomorrow, 3 to 4 p.m. I'll meet you all on Sunday, 8 to 9 p.m. on your most informative show, World This Week. And till then, take care of yourself. If possible, take care of others. Next week, Thursday, on 8 to 9 p.m, 60 Minutes of Enlightenment. I'll come with another impartial analysis of another issue. Good night. Buenas noches. Vanakkam.